Hello, everybody. How are you? Hello, Dr. Gangster Ghost. So, obviously, oh, yeah, we have Aiden come on as well. Hello, Aiden.
Hello, I'm still waiting for my degree from Patriot University is still in the
Uh,
mail, unfortunately.
oh,
So
no.
I can't go by doctor just yet, unfortunately.
Oh, no, we have set up our own university.
Oh, really? Oh, well, I'll
Yeah.
have to I'll have to sign up.
You're
I'll have
just
to sign up.
appearing on the show. We just issue the degree then, and you print it on your
Oh,
own printer.
goodness gracious. Well, you know what? Here, let me check my settings right now. How do I change my name?
It's when you come on or before, I think. But if
Oh,
not,
yeah, you're right. I'll be right back.
yeah,
I'll be right
okay.
back.
Well, that's good. Everybody entering into the spirit. So when Mr. Aiden come back, I can just say a few things about the share. Hmm.
Oh, is that training guy Mark coming on?
Who is that? Mark.
Reed, I think. The
Oh, I
training
don't
guy.
know. I don't know if he knows about the show. So
Uh,
yeah,
on
if some,
Dustin and
if,
Steven show, they made fun of him.
yeah,
They say,
because they're
quiet.
welcome. They're welcome to come on. I think it will take a while to
Yeah.
for people to get to know. Oh, hello, Professor Dr. Aiden. Why not? And in bracket, the smart guy. Well, may as well say so.
I just wanted to add as many credentials as possible. I'm pretty sure Smart Guy is an academically recognized title, so
Yeah,
I just
yes.
figured I could throw as many of those on as possible, and it'll look good. It looks good, right? Like, look at that title. I mean, when
No,
you got like three different titles in your name, you know that you're dealing with somebody serious. So.
well, it's going to impress the people because I heard the other day on the show of, or maybe it was Mr. Stump, but Stephen come in at the end and he's saying to the guy hip hop that Stephen is an ordained minister, and he's saying to him, "Look, with all these qualified people saying one thing and hip hop, you say the opposite. Can't you see that the weight of evidence is against you?" Well, funnily enough, it's the same for evolution, but he doesn't think that.
I find it interesting that he specifically said to Dustin on the one stream, he's like, "Oh, I'm not an authority figure on any of this. I'm not an authority, but you're an ordained minister, so wouldn't that make you an authority on?"
Well, I suppose.
You know, it's a little hard to keep up with, but I'm sure it's even harder for him. I mean, like Mark Twain said, no man is smart enough to be a full time liar. So.
So the idea of this share is I get a bit tired of being banned or blocked on shows where they suddenly decide, oh, this is for believers, I don't know, believers in leprechauns, believers in what? I don't know, but
Yeah, they don't really specify, do they?
no. So you have to be a believer and you go on the show. And I'm this not just it's mainly on the Proverbs show. I think it's been cleared up on the Father Child, so that's okay. So I think, well, may as well have a show in which we can control ourselves and not go blacking people. Just, the favorite cry I hear on these shows is, "Oh, that's disrespectful." Well, but it only applies one way, you know that. So that's why I think, well, we can have a show and.
We think of Lupin's show that Saturday night.
Didn't he delete that? I don't see it on his channel anymore, so I think he may have deleted it.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't bad in the terms of, well, I mean, I think the stuff that he's talking about is, he thinks chemtrails. I ask him that question. Yes, he believes chemtrails, I think we all know that that's not the case. They don't exist, as in what they say they are.
Yeah.
But he believe in that, and but at least I could not go on, but I could make comments. So, well, that's halfway there, isn't it? so I don't have
Right.
too
Well,
much problem.
it's interesting that you weren't allowed to go on because he said explicitly in the chat that he hasn't banned anybody. So
I think that was one of these, for speaking ones, but you could be in the chat because the stuff. But probably I would not want to go on in it because it was sort of hard to tell what it was, and
yeah.
But anyway, at
I
least
mean,
I regard him a bit better than some of the others.
I agree with you there, 100%.
Yeah.
Logan, could you send me the StreamYard link? I can't copy it from the chat. I wanted to ask Claude, can I distribute this link to a few people?
Of course, of course.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the idea of the show. We can discuss anything of interest to creationist, to Christian, just anything if we want, and without
Cool.
fear of being booted for disagreeing. I quite
Mhm.
agree if someone's screaming and yelling and swearing, but we all know who that is, and he's a moderator of the Proverbs channel. I find that very funny.
Well, I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If I ever become a Christian, I'll immediately get like 10 times more latitude to say and do whatever I want over there. So, hey, there's that. Logan, thank you very much for sending the link. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, what did I have down here?
Claude,
Yes.
why don't they call French fries in France?
I think it's actually an American term. But
what do you guys call French fries?
Excuse me, Logan. Excuse me, Mr. Communist over here. I think what you mean is freedom fries, Mr. Logan. I think what you're trying to say is freedom fries, not French fries.
Yeah.
See, France didn't join us in our meaningless war of conquest in Iraq, so we got to call them freedom fries now.
Yes. Well, I think it's Fritz. We call him Fritz. But at the moment, Ghost, I'm not in the France. I'm come over to Australasia, and I'm going to be living here for a while. Actually, the timing is better for the because where I am, it is in the morning now. So I'm going to be living here for quite a while, I think, and but maybe go back on holiday to France sometime. So yeah, I have changed where I am living for a while.
He told Mark I said hi. He lives there.
Yeah, Mark Reed. Yeah.
He's in Australia. Yes. At the moment, I'm over in Nouvelle-Zélande, New Zealand. But I sometimes will be there. Yeah.
Need to shrimp on the Barbie and Bob your uncle.
Yes. One thing I thought would be quite interesting, for many of the people on some of the other channels, they don't like the welfare. I think it is something that has come from the Mr. Hovind. And when he would not like anything like Obamacare or anything like that, because he doesn't want his taxes going to pay for that. Not that he pays the taxes, but I'm just wondering, what about families? Because this is a family show too, and what is the responsibility of Christian and atheist alike to their families? For example, if you've had the multiple children from multiple baby mamas, before embarking on a new relationship, should you be taking care of those families first? Anybody got any ideas on that?
Sure. Do you want to go first, Logan? Go ahead.
I'll be back on my computer. I'll be right back.
Okay. That sounds good. I guess I'll field it then, I suppose. Christian Pike. Hello, Mr. Pike. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the program.
Whose show is this?
Yeah. This is Claude's show.
Claude has a show?
Yeah, this is his first ever official show, to my knowledge. So, Christian, welcome to the ground floor.
What is going on around here?
You know what, man? It's a topsy-turvy world. What can I say? As far as what you were talking about, Claude, I think it's anyone's responsibility if they get entangled into a relationship that produces a child? Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think most people in modern society will know before they have to make the choice to have a child. You know,
Yeah,
they'll
quick
know that the
question.
child is
What are
there
we
and have.
talking about?
Oh, we're talking about atheistic obligations toward family members, whether the atheist
What does that mean?
has any specific responsibility for their. I think it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting topic personally, because everybody always talks about, you know, biblical family and how family should be structured in the Bible or the Quran or any of these books. And I think as far as anybody that has any kind of familiar connection, whether they be Christian or atheist or anybody, I think it's my belief that you have to solidify with that person that you're with an understanding of, well, we need to have this child aborted if that's one of the options that's on the table that both parties agree to. And I think there are plenty of feasible circumstances where that can be the case if we can detect that a child has Down syndrome or any other kind of debilitating.
Several different subjects, and I haven't quite figured out what we're talking about.
Well, I'm talking about the circumstances that go into someone's decision making when they're placed in that circumstance. Claude was the one that fielded this, so do you want to explain, Claude?
Yes, that is part of it. But the main thing I was thinking of, and this applied to Christian and atheist, because this is a show to bring together Christian and atheist and realize that neither side is a monster and can be defined by their religious belief. That's part of their life, but it's not the whole thing. So I was saying that, you know, because many families nowadays, they rely on the welfare, they breed many children, and then they go into another relationship, and then they have more children, and then they go into another mama, and then they have more children. And I'm just saying, whether you're atheist or a Christian, personally, I think before you then start yet another relationship, you should be looking after your first responsibilities. So I just thought it was a little interesting topic to kick it off, and so we don't just talk about Hovind or other people who probably inspired me to do the show.
Fair enough. I think the thing that you touched upon about welfare is actually a really interesting conversation, because, I mean, Christian, you can dispute the naming of this if you want, but I think the Protestant work ethic, as it's commonly referred to, especially within North America, has kind of poisoned the well as far as people's understanding of welfare or people's understanding of social safety nets. And I mean, when you actually look at the totality of human history, it really hasn't been all of that long that people have been expected to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in a 40-hour work rotation. That's more a product of the Industrial Revolution. I've been actually looking into this a lot recently. And most of the time, whether it be anywhere between, you know, the Renaissance or Paleolithic times, you'll typically see groups of people. Oh, I think my food got delivered, babe. Could you go grab that? Oh, my wife is amazing. Anyways, I think it's interesting, though, because a lot of the time people were expected to work about 4 hours, maybe 6 hours a day, and they wouldn't do it all at once. They would do it in about 30-minute bursts most of the time, depending on the circumstances that those people were subjected to. So I think that this modern idea of work and the welfare state associated with that work, like somebody working as often as a typical person does today, is fundamentally unnatural. And the biggest thing that I can personally ascribe that to is the pervasion of the clock, because industrialists use the clock in order to determine, well, this person needs to clock into work at this specific time, and they need to clock out of work at this specific time, and we'll base how we pay them on the specific number of minutes that they've worked. And that just simply wasn't the case for over 90% of human history. It was, well, you'll show up. Go ahead, Christian.
Real quick, you do realize that for the 90% of human history that you're referencing, there was such a class system where most folks were just slaves who worked until they died, and the rest of the folks just ate nice, right?
Oh, I'm even talking about even serfs in medieval Europe who are comparable. Oh, and like, you know, Christian, we could talk about that if you want. And
I do.
As far as, okay. Well, slave labor, yeah, absolutely. There was no specific break periods or anything like that instituted for slaves. Absolutely. I'm more referring to any kind of freedman. But we can talk about slavery and
Yeah,
how
there
it
was just a
relates
ton
to
of
that.
freedmen back in the day.
There was, though, actually. I mean,
No, there
like the
was.
amount of people. There was. I mean, it
There
depends
was.
on what society that you look at, really, as
European
far as the
society for
pervasion.
most of the world.
Well, if you want to look at European society, slavery was basically abolished by the time that I'm specifically referring to, which was the Middle Ages. I
Chattel
mean,
slavery,
serfdom.
yes, but we're speaking of class system.
Well, serfdom is objectively different than slavery. I mean, they are two different
It's
things,
also
and they're
objectively
distinguished.
different than 6-hour comfortable days.
Well, once again, like I was saying before, there was specific break periods that were allotted to serfs. If you look it up, Saint Monday was actually something that pervaded very, very frequently within medieval Europe. And Saint Monday was the concept of, first in its very beginning innovations, it was thought of as, well, it should be a more slack day where we don't have to work as hard, or we only have to work half days. And it became more and more so just a day off. So the 2-day weekend, because Sunday had already been a holy day, the 2-day weekend, as we conceive of it, is not a modern thing. It's not something that was brought about by government. It was something that was brought about by workers slowly changing the paradigm of the work that they did. So workers
That's
have
what
always had
modern means, Aiden.
What's that?
That's what modern means.
What do you mean?
The 2-day work week is certainly a modern thing, obviously.
The 2-day weekend? It's not a modern thing, though. I just
No, it
demonstrated
isn't.
to you that it's not. No, but it's not, though, because we had a system in
Why
place.
just say stuff? Why just say stuff? We know good and well that the modern
Do
workforce
you-
being respected by the government is a very recent occurrence within the last couple hundred years.
Well, you're talking about the 2-day weekend, and I just demonstrated to you with Saint Monday, which you can look into, by the way, not even including
When
all
was
of the
Saint
other
Monday
saints.
as compared to the rest of human history, Aiden?
Well, Saint Monday began as a practice at about the 1200s and continued until about the 1800s, so that would be about
And how long
600
has there
years.
been people?
How long has there been people? About 200,000 years or so.
Okay, so that's fairly modern, right?
I mean, like, if you want to extrapolate it to that, sure. Most people wouldn't consider the 1200s to be modern, but if you want to be pedantic and look at it at a larger scale. Oh, well, sure. If you want me to readjust the lens, I can still talk about Paleolithic hunter-gatherer societies and the fact that they, too, actually worked less than modern people do work. They had fewer periods of time where they worked and did not work as hard in the times that they did work compared to modern laborers.
So you think
But
that laborers
we're
working
getting a
40
little
hours
bit
a week is
off topic, and we're pedantic, and I don't want to be a pedantic.
Yeah, I agree. It's getting a little pedantic.
And if anybody want to be the nitpicker, well, probably not quite the right show. But
I'm just being adversarial, Claude.
we're talking about a responsibility to families, and as I say for the beginning, I see Father Charles here with us.
Yes, welcome.
It started with the idea that should people, atheist or Christian, who've had many children, many different families, different mamas, that seems to be what's happening in society nowadays, before they start off on another new relationship, should they be taking full care of their existing responsibilities, regardless of whether they are Christian or atheist, doesn't make any difference. Is that something that people should be doing when they have many family members who they breed and then leave, Oh,
well, I already kind of fielded that earlier. I'll let the other members of the panel handle. Christian, what's your take on this?
Hold on, what was the question? I'm sorry.
God dang it, Christian! This is like the fourth time that you've been asked this. You got to pay attention. You were paying an awful lot of attention when we were talking earlier, but now you're not paying any attention at all. Come on now, Christian. Get your head on straight.
Be adversarial.
Okay, so I'll say it once more. I'll try it once more. I'm going dizzy from watching Monsieur Christian wandering around our room.
Sorry, I'm listening.
But that's okay.
He's got ADHD. I mean, I basically informally diagnosed him with it.
Yeah, and of course you are a doctor now, Professor Linden. So
that's true. Yes, if you didn't already notice, Christian, my official title is Professor Dr. Aidan Linden, PhD, smart guy in parentheses. That's my official title.
In the light of that, I take back all of my rebuttals.
Yeah.
You should.
As you know, that on this show, PhD stands for printed Hovind degree.
Sir, Dr. Professor.
Sorry,
Sir
my
Dr.
fiance came in.
Sir Dr. Professor, that's very good. Now, okay, so that's what we were talking about, but we can talk about other things as well. And I see that Father Charles has become, no, he already has a master of theology, so that's probably the only real qualification here. How are you,
Yeah.
Father Charles? Would you like to say hello to the show?
Yes, hello. Please welcome yourself.
Yeah.
Well, hello. I feel outclassed here. I got many doctors on the panel, I see.
I'm sorry, but unfortunately, even though you actually went to an accredited institution, Charles, I'm afraid that you're out of your depth here. So if you want to just defer all of your opinions to us for the rest of the night, that'd be nice. I mean, Christian's kind of the counterbalance to that. He's just going to disagree with literally everything that the sky is blue. No, it's not. It's green. I swear, the sky is green.
Has been no.
Oh boy, this should be fun.
Yes, Father Charles. So,
how do you know that fan on top of you is real, Christian? How do you know that fan that's above you right now? How do you know that's a real thing?
And you're the guy making the case that ancient people before civil rights were better.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that they didn't work as much. I'm not saying that they were inherently better. Was the standard of living higher now compared to before? Yes, absolutely. But the actual amount of work, frequency of work, and the frequency of time off compared to that has objectively gotten smaller and smaller thanks to the Industrial Revolution.
I don't think you know how to use that word.
What do you mean? Which word?
It's certainly not an objective truth. You're trying to make that case.
Yes, and I could provide you examples of how that's the case. Like, not only was the Saint Monday example the one that I provided, but the number of saints days that the church explicitly said that you weren't not allowed to work on was also extremely high as well. It was about a third of the year.
okay, I'm going to now ask Father Charles if he has an opinion on this this topic about responsibility to families.
I'm sorry, Claude. I really am.
Oh, no, that's okay. In the modern families, many people, go from one partner to the other. They sometimes get married, sometimes not. That's not so important. They have many babies, and then they go into another relationship, and all they leave is a trail of destruction. Should they be taking full care of the families before starting a new relationship? Or maybe Father Charles can give his perspective on this.
Well, of course, I believe they should take full care of their responsibilities. But you're right. In this day and age we live in, you'll have, people's. I've seen as many as 3 groups of families. God help the father that fathered all the children, because his take-home pay is probably about $100 a week after child support. So. I don't know what the answer to your question could be, because of the society we live in. At least now we're certainly not going to outlaw people going and at least not in the free world, being able to only marry once. So that's a difficult question to answer. Yeah. But the initial question should. A person initially be responsible for his first family, certainly. Yes. And I think society has tried to do that, at least in America. You can't run and hide anywhere from them grabbing child support from you. So they're making an attempt to, whether the father is responsible or not, they're making an attempt to make him responsible legally. So that's as far as I can go with it, because
yes, that's good. It was more the moral side of thing. I realized, of course, you can't stop people embarking, and leaving this trail of children, because that's who I feel sorry for. You can't stop that everywhere, but it's the moral question. And, I think the answer for both the Christian and the atheist is the same. And because, the idea of the show is to try and bring both groups together. So I appreciate your answer. Yes, there's very little government can do. You can't outlaw new relationship. You can't outlaw fathering the children. But morally, I think that's where I was coming from. So thank you.
Christian, for the majority of civilized human society, what has been the vast majority of the jobs of anyone who has done labor, would you say?
If I had to guess off the top of my head, I would guess farming.
Yes. So agrarian societies are the ones that make up the huge majority of civilized human history. And what we see during the winter months of those societies is the fact that they're not exactly able to farm for a good at least 2 months out of the year, for December and January. And consequentially, because of that, most people who were serfs were either given half days off, or in some cases were given entire 2-week periods of time where they did not have to work at all whatsoever. So what I'm trying to say isn't
That's
that
true for those
the standard of living. Well, yes, but I'm giving that as one example among others that I've already
Well, that's not really
provided.
a good
But
solid example by itself, because there's like the majority of the year where that wasn't true.
well, yeah, I agree. And then that's where you have things like the Saints' Days, which made up over 100 days out of all of the year where there was no labor allowed
back in
whatsoever.
like caveman farming, there was like Saints Days.
See, you keep moving the goalposts. See, I'm talking about specifically.
I didn't move it at all. You said human history. You didn't say modern European history. You said human history. That's the original goalpost.
I'm trying to think back in our conversation. No, you know what? I got to give that one to you because I did actually say the majority of human history.
It's
So no, I do have to give that one. No, I'm trying to concede that to you, sir. I'm trying to concede that point to you. But with that in mind, with that wider lens in mind, in Paleolithic society, you'll still see points in the year where there are not as much an abundance of things available. So you will see, especially in the times of much larger pervasive species like the woolly mammoth, the lion, things like that, you'd see that people would store up large quantities of food, as much as they could store, of course, and would
I'm
not
sure
work
that
as hard over the winter
there's
months.
some truth to that, but that's a little bit of a different approach than saying people used to have it easy.
I didn't say that, though. See, one thing, now you're mischaracterizing what I'm saying, because I never said that
was the
people
way
had it
it sounded
easy.
to me.
No, I will agree. The standard of living is much higher today than it ever has been in human history. And we have things at our disposal nowadays, like welfare and social safety nets that nobody did have access to previous. Well, maybe ancient Rome, you could give the grain dole was a really good example in ancient Rome of a proto-welfare
Caesar was pretty
state.
impressive, really.
Well, I mean, the fact that the grain dole was able to exist as long in Roman history as it did really is a testament to just how wealthy the Romans were. Because before the times where before medieval times, where rent actually began to be a thing that became pervasive in society, the biggest expense that people had wasn't rent, it was food. So to have the urban poor have the largest expense they had eliminated entirely was a truly monumental feat that really wasn't repeated until modern welfare began actually becoming out as a thing. So I do agree. We have numerous advantages to ancient societies. What I am saying, though, is as in terms of the hours worked, in comparison to the year ahead of them, we do on average work more now than people did before.
Where are you getting that from? The reason I'm asking is because when you think about prehistoric societies, I mean, for the majority of human history, it's true that there were certain months out of the year, depending on what region you lived in, that were just not workable. But it's also true that for the majority of the year where it wasn't those months, they probably worked like crazy. So do you not think that they worked like crazy? Do you think there was just some sort of social understanding that everybody gets a break?
I think that there was certainly, well, social isn't necessarily a really good word to use for prehistory. I would say a tribal understanding would maybe be a little bit more of a better way of putting it, because society isn't necessarily, I guess maybe you mean social in the aspect of two people communicating with one another.
I'm just
that's
saying,
what you mean.
and maybe I misunderstood you, but I'm just saying that the way that you said it originally, as far as my understanding of it, was just sort of to frame things like people used to just kind of work at their own pace and kick it, and then all of a sudden the Industrial Revolution put everybody to work for the first time. I don't think that's correct.
It put everybody to work on a level that had never been experienced before in human history, because the provision of clocks allowed not only for people to clock in at a specific time, but it was the first time where industrialists would actually lobby their local governments to have people fined for not showing up to work at a specific time, for clocking out early. And not only on that, on top of all of that, would frequently alter the clocks that they had in order to make the day start a little bit earlier, end a little bit later, give people less pay. And those sorts of things were simply not possible at all until the Industrial Revolution came about. Up until then, people would genuinely, there'd be about a half-hour span of time in the morning or the evening where laborers would be expected to show up around this time and would expect to leave around this time. And depending on the time of year, would be given half days of work, even not just in the winter, but would be given half days of work if it was not the harvest season. The harvest season was really the only time in agricultural society where you would see people working in the field for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And that was only about 2 months out of the year. For the rest of the year, they didn't have to work as hard because there wasn't as much to do. Once the fields have been sown, and once they've been tended to, the primary responsibilities of the agricultural laborer are simply to maintain what they already have in terms of making sure everything is weeded, making sure the ditches that provide irrigation are maintained. So there wasn't as much to do as far as work is concerned than a lot of modern jobs, which, let's face it, a lot of them have a lot of busy work, which is just there to take up time throughout the day. And that just was not the case before.
No, that's
Okay.
perfectly reasonable. And I'm sure there's certainly some truth to that.
All right, I think we've come to something
exhausted
approaching an understanding.
We've probably
Well,
exhausted
we've
the
come to
topic
me
of
not being adversarial and you explaining it.
Meet me in the parking lot, Christian.
we maybe have exhausted the topic of whether people worked harder before or not, but that's fine. I quite.
Oh yeah,
quite
I forgot what the topic was, Claude. What was it?
Well, I don't think we.
Christian!
We'll move on to a
I'm
new
trying.
one.
You're gonna make me tear my hair out, man. You really are.
Look at my camera. Look at my camera. You see this?
Yes.
This is a mess.
I agree.
Because
Your arguments are a mess, Christian. I agree.
Now, so I was asked a bit earlier about with what prompted me with the show, and so maybe I can say a few more things. I had a situation the other day on another show, and one of the participants who was very rude to me in the chat, and it made me feel actually quite bad. And of course, I could not say anything else because I was not allowed to come on after that. And at the end of the show, the people who were running it, Mr. Stump and Mr. Steven, and also Hip Hop, who was on it, they all said to this man, Dustin, oh, I've mentioned his name. Oh, sorry. They said, Dustin, oh, you've so spiritually mature now. You've come on such a long way as a Christian. Well, I want to read to you what he said to me in the chat, and you can tell me if this is the words of a Christian. And he said to me, I don't like you. I would not urinate in your mouth to put a fire out. And then later on, because, that's not
Why would
one of
you
my
say that,
business.
Christian?
I don't know. And then later on it comes, he says, furthermore, I could go on the rest of my life without hearing another word you say, and feel free to find yourself with cement shears in the middle of the ocean. And I thought, that's not very nice. And because that really prompted me, I'd been thinking about the
Claude,
child,
did
but I
you
thought,
kill his parents or kill his kids or kill his kids and his parents?
Sorry? Do I?
What led to this this outburst? Was it sort of a series of murders that you went on against his family?
Well, you'd think so, but no, it was a funny comment. The show was about Mr. Stump talking about whether carnal things, sex for carnal knowledge and all that and for pleasure. And I said, and they were talking about the sex before the marriage, and I said the real problem from what I hear is sex after the marriage,
Oh.
So that stirred him up, and he
That's wrong.
he
You're
had
wrong
a
for that,
sense of-
Claude.
he had a sense of humor failure, and so he says this because I told this story somewhere else, so I don't know if it's but some people tell me, I am not an expert in these things, that if people get a pebble, like a little stone, and every time they have sex before the marriage, they put the stone in a jar, right? Okay. And then after they get married, they take one stone out. They never get to the bottom of the jar.
Does the thought ever cross your mind, Claude? Like, for God's sakes, don't say it, or does that ever just kind of happen to you at all?
I mean, why? What's the fun in that, Christian? What is the fun in curtail? You know what, Christian? I just want you to know. I just want you to know, Christian. I just want you to know that when you were laughing at that joke earlier, that was Satan tickling you. That was Satan tickling. You thought that it was you laughing of your own free will, but he was just giving you a good old tickle right there.
I am a determinist, so you could be right.
No, I'm not in defense mode, Christian. I'm just trying to have fun. Don't worry.
Claude,
That's
Don't worry.
what carnal mind is.
Hold on, real
I
quick,
will
Claude.
say.
Dustin really should. I mean, obviously, we don't even have to say this out loud. Dustin shouldn't have said that. I hope
What?
there's something. Huh?
I'm just outraged that you would say that. That you would try to curtail another man's freedom of speech, Christian, by saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that."
I hope there's something that I can say in the future that maybe will persuade Claude to believe that that was not a Christian thing that Dustin said.
Well, because, Claude, my creative juices start to flow, and so I come up with a little song.
I suppose so.
Which I will dedicate to him and sing to you now, if you like.
Please.
Oh, he's got a song. Yes, please,
Yes.
please.
I would very much like to hear the song.
Okay, so here we go. Now here's a little story, totality's a must, about a raging screamer who's always about to go bust. Some people make good examples, others are spiritual runts. Dustin don't contribute much, he is a silly bunt. My old friend Dustin possibly thinks the earth is flat. He seems just like a loser. He really is a twat. He has a thing for Claude Bawles, but he won't urinate in his mouth. Even if Claude's on fire, he won't get his trouser snake out. No, what prompted him to say that really is in doubt. It's not a thing that Claude would want. Maybe Dustin's coming out. Claude finds it hard to swallow that Dustin's a Christian. Claude won't let him ram it down his throat because that's an awful sin. Okay, you like?
Yeah, you're a good singer. You should be a singer.
It's rather an interesting piece for sure.
Thank
I just want you to know, Claude, that the entire time you were doing that, I was silently bobbing up and down with an accordion the entire time. Doing that in pace with what you were singing there. So maybe one day we can meet up and I can be your backup.
Well, that would be really good. But no, I've of course you may have seen my my song on the Big Bad Mama channel about Mr. Hovind, sung to a beautiful imagery, which is quite funny.
I might have caught it.
Yeah.
Don't touch my spa, poo.
Yeah.
Don't touch my spa, poo. I want your money. It belongs to me. Sorry, it's such an earworm, dude. It really is. It's good. It's a great song.
Well, of course, it's sung to the tune of I Want That Mountain. And, of course, I heard Sandra and Kent sing it. And along with the Big Bad Mama, they had this trio. Well, it started as a duo. So that's what inspired me for that. So the problem is when people like Mr. Dustin go over the top, it just make me think, I'm going to have a little go back. So that's the revenge of the Claude Bawles.
Oh, I will just say to Missing Mod, because she said something in the comments, laundry, cooking, cleaning, I could keep going. You're absolutely right. You see, the majority of that stuff, though, as far as sewing, fixing up of things around the house, that sort of thing, was specifically reserved typically toward the end of the year for the winter months, because there was much more downtime available for people to actually be able to tend to those affairs. So people would actually, unless it was an extremely horrible leak or break within their house, they would typically leave the tending of their house or the resewing of their clothes or any of that for that time of year, because they had more free time for prolonged periods of time. I just wanted to address her comment. Don't worry, we can move on. Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles, I've got to ask you, what are your, can I get a sneak peek on what your next show topic is going to be, or are you still is that still in the works?
It's still in the works.
All right. Well, If you could give me a sneak peek about that ahead of time, it's kind of like, when Hillary would during the election, she got the script for the debate ahead of time, so she had like a
Yeah.
huge advantage over it. Yeah, I want. Could you just send me the script ahead of time for everything you're gonna ask? That way, I can plug it into the Google machine and get all the smart sounding answers.
No problem. No problem.
Me too. Me too.
Thank you. Well, Christian, we know you already do that. Like, let's be honest. We know that literally everything that you say and do is filtered through an AI. So,
I do typically try to pre-record everything and check it with an audience.
you need the laugh track in the background every single time you say something funny. Just really get the Full House vibe completed.
Look, I tell you what,
Do you ever watch Full House as a kid?
Of course I did. Everybody watched Full House.
You
look,
say that. There's a surprisingly large amount of people who haven't. Go ahead.
do you see this lizard right now?
Yes, I can. I do see them.
Bub's named this lizard legs. That's not really on top. What I was saying.
Is their name Hillary?
Yeah, no, it's lizard legs. But I don't even know what I was saying now. Oh yeah, laugh tracks. So there's this guy that has a weird YouTube channel where he has all supercuts of Ross's scenes from Friends with no laugh tracks, and it sounds.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that. The one that I've seen is where he goes into like the self-defense course, and he asks the teacher. He's like, so if I was in this situation, what would I do? He's like, well, you'd try to disarm the attack. No. If I was the attacker, what would I do? And there's no lie. It gets really, really uncomfortable really quick. They've done. It's not as bad. It's kind of hard to get that bad again, but they do a similar thing with the Big Bang Theory, where they cut out all the laugh tracks, and it's just so incredibly stilted and awkward because they'll just stare at each other for like 5-second intervals of time. It's not. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it, honestly. Logan, can I take a page out of your book and say that that's crazy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I asked Logan, not you, Christian.
I'm trying to answer. Aiden, do you mind?
I do. As a matter of fact, I do. I asked Logan if I could take a page out of his book and say that it was crazy, and you gave permission for someone else. So I think you better walk that one back.
Recite as my own.
I guess.
You're answering for Logan?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're all doing
I'm allowed to do it. You know, do what I say, not what I do, Christian. I think somebody that's lived a life as long as yours, I would expect you to understand that principle by now. Come on, do what I say, not what I do.
I'm not sure how I made it this far.
Now,
How many titles do you have in your name, Christian? Let me just ask you that real quick. How many titles you got in your name right now?
Bishop, deacon, doctor, reverend, apostle, prophet.
I don't see any of that on the screen right now, though. That's really strange.
Let me get my laptop out.
I don't think it would
Oh,
fit.
boy.
Then shall you see.
Christian,
Yeah, Christian's got to go and he's got to run to the Google machine to get all of his arguments.
now
This
for
is true.
the show, I don't want it to go over the hour, so we maybe have 10 or 15 minutes left. So,
Oh.
are there any other
I
topic
bet you
people
I'll
want
get my laptop.
to discuss? Or
Logan, do you got something?
yeah, Logan.
Dr. Claude, do you think it's what do you think of that Hart guy?
The one called Achilles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, our friend from Greece. Yes.
Yes, well, he's quite new on the scene, but he has already left a big impact. I don't know if it's in the right way or the wrong way, but he now is, I think has a quite important role on the channel of Mr. Stephen. He talks so much, I sometimes cannot quite understand what the point is, but he would put himself out there as being very knowledgeable. So,
Is he as knowledgeable as you?
well, probably on some topics that, but not necessarily on things that matter. We probably have a different opinion on most things, and the one that really surprised me is that he seemed to believe the Earth is flat, which sort of like for me, that puts a whole different spin on the things he says. If he does think the Earth is flat, it sort of makes me a bit feel that everything else he says is a bit questionable. Oh, Professor Pike, PhD, MD, and just about everything else has
Yes.
arrived back.
And other, yes.
Yeah,
I'm
and
scared.
other.
He's got a background too. You can tell that he's extra legitimate because he's got a green screen background behind him. So
I took that picture, like, the other day.
Christian, you sort of remind me of our friend from Greece with all those titles.
I didn't know he had them.
Christian, I'm going to send you a video. It summarizes the points that we've made today, I think, as best as it possibly can within a single video. I invite you to give it a listen today.
Okay.
But, Claude, I apologize. I kind of did subvert your show just a little bit.
No, because
I apologize.
It's a very free-flowing, I think is the word, free flow. And
Oh my God, you watch Historia Civilis? I love that channel.
Dude, he is one of my favorite channels of all
Really?
time. This is a really recent video of
I
his.
love that channel. Are you kidding me right now? I'll believe it if he says it.
Now we're not sure.
No, he makes a much more compelling point than I ever can. Oh, it's related to that little stat we had earlier about work and labor and all that. You should really watch that because he makes incredibly compelling points on the matter.
I watch everything that guy makes. Are you kidding me?
Can you?
Well, this has been out for 2 days.
Can you put this in the chat so we can?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can put it. Do you want it in? I don't think I can put it in the public chat because I'm not a moderator, but I can. I can put it.
Do it in either one is fine. Yeah.
It's in the private. Oh wait, no, this is the StreamYard link. Hold on, let me get the other one.
Yeah, I don't think that one's gonna help.
You know what? I do that every once in a while, unfortunately. Let's see here. Get the link. But yeah, I agree, Christian. Historia Civilis is absolutely fantastic. I've watched his show for a number of years at this point. He doesn't put out videos often, but anytime I see a new video of his in my feed, it's an immediate excuse to drop whatever I'm doing.
YouTube is always trying to demonetize history channels. It's the dumbest thing. Every history channel I follow complains about demonetization over foolish things. Like, you ever watch the Armchair Historian, Griffin Johnson?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Like, all those channels, they all complain about the same thing, that YouTube demonetizes them over nonsense.
Yeah, Lindy Beige is another one of them that I really like.
One thing that's really funny, Aiden, is have you ever watched Alternate History Hub?
Oh my gosh, Alternate History Hub was like one of the first historical YouTube channels I found when I was in like grade 7 or something like that.
Well, that guy, he used to do World War II videos where he would have the Nazi logo on the arm, and they started getting demonetized, so he switched it to the YouTube logo.
Yeah. I remember there was a program YouTube was going to roll out forever ago. I mean, anybody here, if they remember it, it'll immediately show your age on this platform. YouTube Heroes was a thing that was proposed a while back, and they had this advertisement of it, and somebody edited it to make it like Nazi propaganda. Basically, they changed everything around, and that immediately got taken down by YouTube. I mean, unfortunately, YouTube is a site that's 99% policed by bots that have no understanding of context whatsoever, because heaven forbid Google, hire people that can actually have discernment over the things that are reported over. But that's just the circumstances we live in, unfortunately. And they take the cheapest possible route, and that route being a bunch of robots deciding the fate of people's entire career.
Now, yes. Dr. Linden, I copied that link and I posted it in the chat to see if I have the ability to do that. Can you tell me in the chat, has your link now appeared under my name so that everybody can look at it?
Yes, it has. I see it in the chat.
So that's really good. That's a way around until I appoint some moderators. And that's something I want to ask your advice. So this is my first go. I've just got the free StreamYard. It gives me up to 6 people in the home. What does Father Charles use for his broadcasting? Does he have the free one or the paid one? Or the other people like Stephen, would they have the free one or the paid one?
Oh, he's very proud of the fact he has the paid one.
I have the paid one.
Oh, okay. Maybe I have to keep up with the people.
Father Charles, do you spend $200 a month on your paid StreamYard?
No, I have the professional grade, and it cost me $480 for the whole year.
Ah, well, there you go. For the whole year.
I thought you were going to say a month. I was like, what the?
Yeah, I know. I saw your reaction, Chris. We basically had the same reaction at the same time. All I'll say for advice on your channel, Claude, is don't make Christian a moderator. Don't, whatever you do, do not give him that power. It'll immediately become Gestapo-esque tactics.
Mr. Dustin might be the moderator.
We'll find Logan getting shoved into a van pretty quickly after Christian has made a moderator. That's all I'm trying to say.
The power goes straight to my head, and I get drunk on power, and I just start blocking people just to do it.
But
I saw Christians. I saw the cogs going in your head there, Christian. You were like, "It's not a van he'd be thrown into. It's a train car, Aiden. Come on now, let's be honest."
So at the moment, there's nothing wrong with this free one, just to see how things go. And then it's if I want the more people, is that what happened? I go to a paid version. Is that what happened?
Yeah, you get 10 people if you want to have 10. The max is 10 people in your show. As far as you can stream 24 hours a day if you want.
Oh, no.
So there's no time limit.
Yeah.
And they record your broadcast for you too if you wanted to edit it and put it up as a premiere or something. So
all right. So at the moment, when I end the stream, it automatically go to my YouTube. I think is that what's happened?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Because so it's never easy. It taken me a few days, and I couldn't get it to work. And then what I realized, I'd come into the chat, but I didn't go live on the right hand side, and so nothing was happening. I was getting very frustrated, but it's working now. So
you do have to push that live button.
Yes,
I will say this has been. I know that we've only got a little bit of time left, but this has been a really fun show. I've really enjoyed this. It was very free form and open, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Well, one thing I'm thinking of I don't know when, I'm not going to do every day, but in a few days, I will send you let you know. I will put up the thing to say it's coming on because I want to have another show with the Father Charles. I enjoy those. But I've been listening to on the Genesis Baptist Church. It seemed Mr. Owen is on a thing about you're just picking an animal out, and then say, how could that possibly be,
I love your Kent Hovind impression so much.
I cannot do like AJ. He's wonderful, and you're morons and you're fools and, you don't have a brain cell. And he goes, how could this be evolution and blah, blah, blah. Well, and nobody ever answers. He says nobody ever answers. So maybe we can pick one of those animals. He likes the ones with the different kinds of penises. He seems to be obsessed at the moment. And, the last one, the echidna, had 4 little diddlers on the end of it.
It's not a recent obsession. I'll just say that right now. He's well known for his penile comparisons.
Yeah. So maybe we can pick one animal and actually talk about that. Because, I just picked the echidna, and I found it, the evolution, the answer to his question is all there. And I know he reads from the Wikipedia, so he could just read the answer if he wanted to, but obviously not. But maybe that's a topic we can talk about, the evolution, without getting too excited. That's something for the future. I don't know.
What is your vision for the show, Claude, generally?
Well, my vision was mainly because I've been attacked by the Mr. Aiden all the time. I wanted a place where, I would hate to ban people from the show. I don't want to get into that, where it seems so very easy on the ProverbsGuy show to get banned or put in timeout, and you're disrespectful, they say. No, I just have a different opinion. I'm not screaming, I'm not insulting or anything. Occasionally I get a little quip in, and they're looking for that, and then that's the excuse. Boom, you have gone from the show. So I want to have a show where atheist and Christian alike have the same rights and speaking ability and can discuss the topics that are found on these other shows without fear of getting the the boot for not doing anything bad. I quite agree. If someone come on here swearing and using bad words, they're gone, no problem. But just for disagreeing, I don't think that's right.
So
that was my vision.
to have sort of a 50-50 theist and atheist discuss the same topics that have been being discussed on the other shows.
Yeah. I would like. Yeah. That's right. And
Here's a good topic I have to round out the show, and it's very relevant to the other ones we've been discussing.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich or Popeye's chicken sandwich? What's everyone's preference?
Have you had the Popeye's chicken sandwich?
I am eating a Popeye's chicken sandwich as we speak right now.
Next level.
It really is. There's nothing that compares. I remember my my cousin said, "Oh, KFC chicken sandwich is probably way better." I wanted to. No, Christian, you're pretty, you're pretty spot on right there.
For God's sake, AFC.
Some people just have no taste, man. Some people just have no taste. What can I say?
Dude, that Popeye's chicken sandwich is like. Look, they used to call Chick-fil-A the Lord's chicken. And when that Popeye's chicken sandwich came out, I said, "This is the devil's chicken."
Dr. Cole.
Yeah, they put something in that stuff, man. I don't know what it is, but they put something in there. Go ahead, Logan.
Dr. Cole, could you make Miss Maud the mod? That's in her name.
She'd be a found mod then, though. She'd be a found mod.
My brother just sent me something, Aiden, that says, "Tell me somebody who can beat Captain America," and it says Captain Vietnam.
I was gonna make a Vietnam joke earlier with Dr. Claude here present. I was gonna say the only place that you'll ever find a Frenchman more eager to go than France is Vietnam. So
That's horrible.
Well, look, thank you. My friend, the mon ami missing mod says, "Don't let me on ever, just to be safe." And I reply to her, "I don't want to be safe from you, Madame Mod." And she says, "Trust me, you do, Claude. Trust me,
Missing
you
Mod's
do."
a very interesting person. Actually, I would like to hear her speak more about these topics.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, she doesn't come on live streams to talk all that often, but anytime she does, it's always been interesting. So it'd be cool to have her on.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So
I
like
the
that.
videos she does put out, they're very good. The videos.
I agree. She's got some great videos.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I think we will wrap it up, the inaugural show, and I thanking everybody for coming on. And
Well, you've inspired me, Claude. I might defy everyone tonight and have an open mic at 7. So,
so what time is it your place now?
it is 6 o'clock.
Oh, well, if you are
you're on Eastern.
going at 7, that could be good. Yeah. So, look, thank you so much, everybody. I know we've been talking about so many different things, but that doesn't matter. And the thing is that apart from me, who's been a bit naughty with my my song about the Dustin, everybody else has behaved themselves so well.
I love Dustin. He's like my buddy for real, but he just says some wacky stuff sometimes.
Yeah. So it's no problem.
We're all a little wacky one way or the other, right? So
Yeah.
You ever get that thing, Christian, where all the spicy mayo kind of like pools over to one part of the sandwich, and then like at the very end of eating the sandwich, you just get this like atomic bomb of spicy at the very end?
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through that right now. All right, everybody.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day, everybody.
Have a good
All I
day.
just need to ask, I press
Go ahead.
the end stream button and then that's it? Or do people backstage after that? Or do I press the end stream and then leave studio to finish?
Just end the stream and click the X, you're out.
Okay. Well, look, thank you everybody so much. And I look forward, I hope you can have a show today, Father Charles.
That would be really nice. Yeah, I would enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Christian won't show up because he's scared. Everyone have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.